All right, let's talk about something we all know way too well, mistakes. But what if I told you there's a way to turn those painful oops moments into your biggest strategic wins? That's exactly what we're diving into today.
I mean, does this sound familiar? You're team leader, and you get that sinking feeling, that déjà vu moment when the exact same problem pops up and throws a wrench in your project again. It is so frustrating, right? It's costly, and honestly, it just feels like you're stuck on a hamster wheel. But what if there was a way to hop off that wheel for good? Every single time a mistake gets repeated, it's like a 1-2 punch. First, it hits your timeline and your budget. But the second punch? That one might actually be worse. It just chips away at your team's morale, their confidence. We're not just fixing a little bug here. We are literally paying tuition twice for a class we should have already passed.
Okay, so this is where something called the prevention playbook comes in. And listen, don't let the name fool you. This is not some dusty, boring document that's going to sit on a shelf. Think of it as your strategic guide, your secret weapon. It's a structured way to stop just patching holes and start actually future-proofing your whole operation.
So, what is this thing really? Well, preventative planning is way more than just wagging a finger and saying, hey, don't do that again. It's a real system, and it has a 3-part mission. First, obviously, stop that specific mistake from ever happening again. Second, and this is key, strengthen the systems underneath it all. And third, build up that resilience so your whole organization gets tougher.
All right, so the process itself is actually pretty straightforward. It boils down to 4 key steps. Step 1, you've got to analyze the mistake with brutal honesty. No sugarcoating. Then, step 2, you dig deep. You go past the symptoms to find the real root cause. A great little trick for this is the 5 whys. You just keep asking why until you can't anymore. That's usually where the real problem is hiding. From there, you figure out the core lesson, and finally, you turn that lesson into an actual, concrete plan. Okay, this is the part I love. This is where we move from just talking about it to actually doing something. Because let's be real, a lesson learned is totally useless if it doesn't lead to real change, right? So this next piece is all about building an action plan that has teeth.
So check this out. The real power here is all about one word, accountability. I mean, look at these columns. Every single action gets an ID, a super clear description, and, here's the most important part, a person who owns it and a deadline. There's no wiggle room. No, I thought someone else was doing that. A simple table like this takes a vague idea and turns it into a concrete commitment you can actually track.
And the fixes themselves can come in all shapes and sizes. It's almost never just one single thing. Sometimes you got to tweak a process. Other times, the team just needs a bit more training. Or maybe it's as simple as actually enforcing a policy that's already on the books. It could be a tech upgrade, better communication, you name it. In fact, the absolute best solutions usually pull from a few of these categories at once. So, you've done the work, you've got this awesome plan, but how do you keep it from dying a slow death in a forgotten Google Doc? You know what I'm talking about? The real magic, the secret sauce, is when you bake these changes right into the DNA of your organization. This right here perfectly captures that huge shift in thinking. The old way, it's all reactive. It's slapping a Band-Aid on the problem and just hoping for the best. The new way, the playbook way, is all about being systematic. You are officially updating your policies, you are actively training your people, and you are weaving these lessons into the very fabric of how you work. So what are the actual tools you can use to make this happen? Well, first off, you update your standard operating procedures, your SOPs. That's the official rulebook, right? So change the rules. Then, you roll out specific training programs to give people the skills they need. You can also build these new checks right into your risk audits. And a really smart one is to set up some early warning signs, little tripwires to catch problems before they blow up. And all of this leads to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, it's the most powerful part of the whole playbook. We're about to level up from just fixing one-off problems to creating a culture that is constantly learning and getting better on its own. And this really is the heart of it all. Look, the goal isn't just to get it right once. Who cares about that? The real win is building a system where your entire organization gets a little bit smarter, a little more resilient with every single challenge it faces. It's about getting better forever. But how do you actually know if any of this is working? You can't just go by a gut feeling, right? You need cold, hard data. And that's where monitoring comes in. You do this by setting clear key performance indicators, or KPIs. Basically, these are just the specific numbers you're going to track to see, objectively, if your plan is making a real difference. Let's make this real.
Imagine a nagging mistake was causing your systems to crash all the time. So you roll out your prevention plan and you set a brand new measurable target. You say, from now on, system downtime has to be under 5%. See? It's super specific, crystal clear, and you can absolutely track it. And bam, a simple little chart like this tells you the whole story. Before you did anything, downtime was at a painful 20%. Ouch. But after you put the plan in motion, look at that. It's down to 6%. You're getting super close to your target. That's not just a feeling that things are better. That is undeniable proof that your playbook is delivering results.
And here's the thing. This process never really stops. It becomes a loop, a cycle. You're constantly collecting feedback from your team on the ground. You're looking at the data to prove it's working. You're reviewing everything and adapting your strategy as you go. And this is so important. You're reporting that progress up to leadership to keep them on board. This is how you turn improvement from a one-time project into a daily habit.
So I'm going to leave you with this one big idea to chew on. The ultimate goal here isn't just about stomping out today's fire. It's about fundamentally changing how your entire organization learns from its experiences. So the real question you should be asking isn't just, did we fix the problem? It's, have we built a culture that's smart enough to prevent the next one, the one that's still lurking around the corner?